Hey, welcome to this Tuesday with Michelle. I am your girl, Michelle, bringing you the hottest content this Tuesday. Today, we are going to be talking about what not to order on a first date. And, guys, I just really want you to know that I do all this work and research. It probably takes like 5 minutes, to be honest. I do all this research, finding this information so I can share with you guys, my people, on this platform. Okay. Anyway, this list is going to be pretty familiar to a lot of people, but for some people, you might learn a thing or two. And what I really like about this research that I did, this thorough research that I did, is that it not only tells you what not to order, but it gives you reasons why you shouldn't order it, right? So, you know what? Kick back, relax, and enjoy this episode. Here we go. Number one, spaghetti and meatballs. People, stay away from spaghetti and meatballs. And the reason for that is, yes, you guessed it right. You might be wearing a white shirt or a white dress, and then the next thing you have marinara sauce all over your white shirt and you don't know where to go. Okay, that's just one thing. The other business or the other problem with that business of ordering that on a date is you're gonna be slurping during the date because you need to go like oh my god, that's so disgusting. I'm sorry, guys. But you get the picture. You don't want to be on a date doing what I just did. Okay? You don't want to slurp anything. So whether it's like spaghetti and meatballs, whether it's some type of soup that requires that kind of sound effect, just don't order anything that puts you in a position like that on a first date. I mean, once you've secured the package, right? You're now like in a relationship with this person, then by all means go ahead and unleash the beast. But just don't do it on a first date. Number two, ribs and wings. Okay. Ribs and wings are definitely a messy thing because first of all, it just means that you have to be using your hands to eat those wings. And it's a lot of sauce. I'm imagining barbecue sauce or whatever sauce it is. It's going to get messy. But also, this article that I read said that it's actually, a red flag when someone has to get extra napkins to wipe their hands. So, guys, you don't want to be screaming red flags on a first date. So, again, stay away from ribs and wings. And what they actually recommended you do is instead of doing that, just order a steak because with the steak, you can still keep it classy. Get your fork and your knife and cut through it. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Game changing. The next one, they said that it's okay for you to order salads, and this goes out to my vegetarian people or people who just like to eat salads as a starter. It's okay for you to do that. There's absolutely nothing wrong. In fact, power to you. But what you should not be doing is, let's say you order a salad, right? And then you're like, instead of putting onions, can you replace it with this, and instead of putting cucumbers, can you put this? Instead of putting this sauce, can you substitute it with this? You don't want to be that kind of person who takes something from a menu and then pretty much customizes it to make something new. It's just not a good look. So whatever you're gonna order from the menu, make sure that if you have any changes that need to be made, they're very, very minimal, right? So for example, if you order your salad and you say, hey, instead of putting the dressing in my salad, can you just put it on the side? That's understandable. But don't go out here now creating your own Michelle type of version of salad while you're on this first date. Okay? And actually, they recommended that instead of doing a salad, for reasons like, for example, you might not want to do a salad because spinach might get in your teeth or like get stuck in your teeth, and it's kind of awkward for your date to tell you. They actually recommended that, hey, grilled veggies are a good alternative because you avoid all of that drama with stuff getting stuck in your teeth. Next one, garlic and onion. Garlic and onion are two things that you want to stay away from. And I'm thinking more of like on the onion side, like if it's raw onions, especially, you definitely want to stay away from that because the smell is just too strong. And there's no amount of gum that can help you out to kind of get rid of that whole, smell that comes from eating those kind of foods, right? So stay away from garlic, stay away from onion. There's really no other alternative that you can be given that will make it okay to order that, especially on a first date. But then, once you're in your house after the first date, if you're one of those people where you always have to have garlic, always have to have onion, when you get home and the doors are now closed, Go crazy. Go crazy. Nobody's watching you. Okay? Eat all the garlic you need. The first date is over. This guy or this girl has a great image of who you are, and they don't get to experience the garlic breath that you have. Next one, obnoxiously expensive food. This one speaks for itself. Okay, it doesn't matter really who is paying. First of all, okay, let's just say it's the first date and this guy is paying. You don't want to be the girl who's ordering like a $200 meal for no reason. Like, it's not that deep, you know? Unless if you go to a restaurant where $200 is like a medium price, right? And maybe the most expensive meal you could get is, $1,000, then yeah, okay, fine. That makes sense. But most restaurants are not going to be like that. And you don't want to be the girl who orders things that are like $200 on this one night. And this guy is only ordering something that's like $30, right? So you want to make sure that you're within the range. But on the other side, too, if you're the guy and you're taking a girl on a date, don't do that. Don't order things that are like $200 because it puts women in a very awkward position because now we don't know what we're supposed to do. Should we be ordering things worth $200? Will we finish $200 worth of food? It puts everybody in an uncomfortable spot. Okay, next one on the list, corn on the cob. And what they said about that is it gets stuck in your teeth. No need to explain that. The next band of culprits, sparkling drinks, soft drinks, kimchi, and sauerkraut. And what they said about this is that it actually causes, burping, and you don't want to be that person again who's on a date uncontrollably burping. Burping is not something that you can actually control, right? Because it's just like, I guess, or, excuse my biology because I'm not really sure. But basically, I'm guessing it's a lot of like gas or whatever. And so when you have to burp, you have to burp. And so the best thing to do is to just avoid things that put you in the awkward position when you're now just burping through the night. Okay? Next one, do not do heavy liquor. Okay, you don't want to be on a first date and drink the heaviest of stuff because it's not a good look to be drunk on a first date. So you might want to do more cocktails, keep it light so that you're still level headed and you're still able to hold a conversation. You don't want to have like the heavy stuff and then get drunk. And then now, on the first date, you're talking about how many kids do you want to have, right? You want to still be in control of the conversation that you're having on that first date. The next one is do not order the same thing that your date is ordering. We cannot stress this enough. I feel like I would actually just get frustrated if I'm on a date with somebody and I'm ordering something and then the guy goes, I'll have exactly what she's having. Like, I mean, well, hey, unless if you go to like a limited menu where there's only two things and maybe one option is a steak and one option is a vegetarian option, and you don't eat steak and your date orders the only vegetarian thing on the menu, then you have to say, I'll have the same thing. But really, it's usually not like that. So you want to do something that's different. So don't be that girl, don't be that guy who's like, I'll have exactly what my date is having. It's just show some creativity, show that you're different as well. The next one that they had on the list was do not order anything that's hard for you to pronounce. Okay, listen. I mean, I've been on like, lunches or like at lunches or dinners with friends, and I look at a menu item and I'm like, I really don't know how to pronounce this, right? And so I just end up pointing at it because sometimes the whole menu is in a language that you don't understand. So, if you can, just refer to the number. Let's say the thing that you want to order, you're at an Italian restaurant, everything is in Italian, and you don't know how to pronounce something on a date. Just be like, I'll have your number 17, please. Right. And then you can also kind of just like wave your finger around 17 so that the waiter definitely gets the picture of what exactly you're trying to order. Okay. But if you can, again, just like order something that you can pronounce so that you avoid the awkwardness. That's only if you can. If everything else is in Italian, there's really nothing that you can do besides point and say the number of the thing that you're trying to order. Or what they actually said in this article is that you can still try to pronounce it and then just make sure you acknowledge or you make a light joke of yourself like, oh I butchered that. I'm pretty sure I butchered that, you know what I mean? So then it keeps it light, and you don't seem like you're overly confident. I've definitely been out with like my friends or like with my brother and some people, and I'm ordering something and I'm so sure that what I'm pronouncing is so wrong, but I do it so confidently. But again, it's just like I'm around people who I'm close to like that. But on a first date, I definitely would not be trying to show off skills of a language that I do not know, Okay. The next thing is, this is my personal tip to you guys. Don't order something that you're trying out for the first time. And it's not, see, it's different if you order, let's say, like, you've always done white rice and now you're doing white rice with peas. Okay. That's fine. But don't order, like, let's say, for example, I have never had, how do I say this? Let's say I've never had clam chowder in my life. Okay. And now I go on a date and I'm like, oh, this is my opportunity to try clam chowder. Just don't do it. And the reason why I would say don't do it is that it's going to be really awkward if you try that thing and you don't like how it tastes to the extent. Because sometimes you don't like how something can taste, but you can kind of brave it out and finish it. But sometimes you don't like how something tastes and you cannot continue eating it, right? So you definitely don't want to order something and then just like take 1 spoon or 2 spoons and then be done with it. So I'd say on a first date, order something that like you're very comfortable with. You read all the ingredients and you kind of get a picture of what this thing will look like and how this thing will be once it's in your body. Because you know how your body responds to different things. The next one is, you should not order things that are difficult to eat, such as some certain types of seafood like lobster. Lobster, guys, can be one of the most complicated things to eat just because some restaurants will crack the lobster for you, and by the time it comes to you, they've done the work, right? You're just basically trying to pull out like the meat, but it's already been cracked for you. Been to restaurants where the lobster is there and you're just like, oh gosh, where do I start? And now they've given you the tools, and you know how they be when you're ordering lobster, they give you the whole like little bib thing, and now you're trying to figure out, oh my gosh, how do I even crack it? Now imagine if you've never even seen the lobster before and you don't know where to even start. Now you have to ask your date to come and do it for you. It's just, stay away from lobster, right? Stay away from things that are just too complicated to eat. You can always eat those things on a different date, maybe date number 3, or, with your friends or something like that. Definitely not a first date item. And the last one, it's like a group of things. So they said don't eat gross meats. And what they put on there was tripe, pig's feet, beef tongue. And then the other part was like just odd foods or unique foods from exotic animals. And they were like, oh, things like fried insects, frog legs. And something that was actually funny about this was they were like, you don't want to be, let's say you're a guy and you order like fried grasshoppers, right, on a first date. They were like, you don't want to be that weird guy where when this girl is telling her friends a story and let's say she mentions you, right, and let's say your name is Daniel. So they're like, oh, so then you're like, oh, Daniel this. And then your friends are like, oh, which one is that? Is it the weird grasshopper guy? So you don't want something that will get you tagged with a nickname that's just not friendly. And I think the whole thing with like the pig's feet or the beef tongue is that, like if you're on a date with somebody who's never eaten things like those and then you're eating that, for them, it might actually like make them lose their appetite, So like if you order things that are too far out of bounds, like it's just gonna make the other person feel uncomfortable and they might lose their appetite. So again, just remember that a first date is where you're trying to give a good impression and you're trying to be comfortable to where you can hold a conversation, enjoy the night in a very friendly, light manner, right? While all your senses, such as like your sense of smell and that other person's sense of smell, are not going to be offended. And also sense of sight, because you're sitting across from someone and they're looking at you and they don't want to see sauces coming out of your mouth as you're eating like your spaghetti and meatballs. They don't want to have their sense of sound affected by you slurping the spaghetti. So anyway, that was it from me, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this. Take care, y'all, and look out for Friday's episode. Bye.